Hello guys, how are you doing? Chessy Buddy is here with a brilliant game today. This game was played against a 2100 rated player as a 1600 rated player. This game is not too long, it's only 10 moves and the opponent resigned by the move of 10. So let's go for the game. The game actually started with pawn to d4 square, and I responded with pawn to d5 square, and the opponent pushed the pawn to c4 square. This is an indirect move to control the center because in this position, if I capture this pawn, the opponent will push the other pawn to e4 square and will have a good controlling over the center, and the pawn which I've captured will be under attack using the bishop, and in next move he will attack my pawn, and he will simply develop the knight and castle, and it will be a quick opening for the whites. So the game continued by defending my pawn, and then the opponent developed his knight, and in this position I pushed the pawn to c5 square and said the opening to, you want to capture this pawn or you want to capture this pawn, or you want to simply develop your other pieces, because you have the choice to develop the pony and then for example push the pawn, defend this pawn on c4 square, and many other moves which are playable in this position. But the opponent captured my pawn on d5 square and I captured it back, and then he captured my other pawn on c4 square. Now he is up a pawn, but I can actually capture this pawn using the bishop, but this is not a good choice to capture it because my pawn here is undefended and I have only one defender. This pawn only has one defender, while the opponent has two attackers on this pawn. The pony and the queen are attacking at the same time this pawn, and they can simply capture it. So in this position, I simply push the pawn and kick the knight. Now the question is that where will the knight hop? He has multiple choices. First of all, he can go to the home square, which is not a good idea because you will simply undevelop your piece, and while the opponent, I mean the black, can simply capture it and develop the bishop and somehow develop the knight and try to castle and simply do some other businesses. So you have other choices like developing the knight to this square, and this is actually the move that engine recommends for white, and is saying that you must develop the knight here, because if you come here, however, this home is defended, but still you will not have this knight is not going to do a lot in this square. So the worst move here is to move the knight in this square, because you can see that this diagonal is going to be being controlled by the queen. So the opponent actually made the worst decision of this game, and this was the losing move, and this was what made the opponent resign. So he hopped the knight to b5 square, while the black has the opportunity to capture this knight for free. So the black simply check the king, and it's a fork. It's check and fork at the same time. You cannot pull back the uh, the knight, because this home is well defended using the pawn on d4 square. So you have two choices, either to block using the bishop or using the queen, which anyone you do as a white, you will lose the knight on this square. So the opponent blocked using his queen, and then I captured the free knight here, and he captured my free pawn, and then I came for a trade. But the opponent is down material, and actually he is not interested in trading. He checked me out. I blocked using the bishop. At the same time, my next move might be here to develop the knight and try to castle, and developing other pieces also is also an option, because this is what we are supposed to do in the opening of any games which we play. So the game continued by attacking my queen using his bishop. He attacked my queen using his bishop, and in this position, I simply gave him a check and forked him because I was up a piece. And he is also forced to capture my queen here, and I will capture it using my bishop. And this is the position which made the opponent resign. So if we somehow see the continuation of this game, for example, if the opponent capture my uh, queen here, and I capture it back. This is a check, and now you're forced to move the king, either to move the king or to block using the bishop. Which, if you block the bishop, I will actually capture it, and you will be forced to capture it back. And now you have lost the right of castling. I'll bring up my knight, and your king side pieces are all sleeping. Your queen side pieces or your queen side is just a mess. And for example, if you do something like this, I will castle, and the next move I will develop my pieces and control these two open files using my rooks, and this position is just a win for me. So this was the game which was played, and it was only 10 move long. I wish you have learned something from it, and please don't forget to hit this subscribe button and support me, and wait for more contents. So thank you everybody for all your support.